gang, welcome back to another episode of Ganer Cooks. On today's episode, we're going to be making tacos. This is going to be too much. On today's episode, we're going to be making some pork tacos. Carrie and I love this recipe because it's so versatile. It goes really well with the traditional toppings that you put on a taco, like pico de gallo, sour cream, cheese, etc. But it's also really good with sweeter things. Oftentimes we'll serve this with mango or some kind of coleslaw that has apples in it, sweeter kind of toppings. It's just a really delicious and versatile style of making this taco. So I'm excited to share it with you. So first I'll go over the ingredients that we need to make the pork itself. Then I'll talk a little bit about what some of the toppings that Carrie and I are going to put on the tacos tonight. So what we need for our taco is 2 cups of chicken broth, 2 tablespoons of garlic, a couple of chipotle peppers in adobo sauce, 1 beer. We're going with whatever beer was in the back of the fridge. Carrie and I don't really drink beer, but someone left one behind. But if you were choosy and you were a beer kind of person, you might want to pick some kind of Mexican beer like a Tecate or Corona or something like that. But we're going with Michelob Ultra, only 95 calories. 1/2 of an onion. You could use a whole onion, but we had half of one sitting in the fridge and I thought I'd get rid of it. We're going to use the juice of 1 orange. Once I explain how all this kind of fits in, you'll see that the measurement doesn't need to be very precise. It's more a matter of like trying stuff out and throwing in flavors and seeing if it's good. But we're going to go with the juice of 1 orange. We're also going to need some cilantro, some oregano, a cinnamon stick. If you don't have this, you can use a teaspoon or less of the ground cinnamon if that's what you have lying around. We're also going to use half of a poblano pepper. We're going to be making another recipe later on in the week with the other half of the poblano pepper, so you can use a whole one if you're feeling fancy. And we're also going to have some red cayenne pepper. One thing that I want to point out is that seems like a whole ton of ingredients, and you don't need to do all that to make a really amazing pork taco. Whenever Carrie and I were in Mexico for our anniversary a few years back, we made pork tacos with just the pork shoulder, a little bit of the chipotle peppers, and we just simmered the heck out of it, and it turned out incredible. I know some people have complained about some cooking shows where it's like, there's all these exotic flavors and like nobody has that stuff in their kitchen. So literally use whatever you have lying around. I'm sure it's going to taste great. So the star of this particular one is we're going to use some pork shoulder. This is maybe a couple of pounds of pork shoulder. You're looking for not a ton of fat content. We're going to cut off some of the bigger chunks of fat, but we're going to keep behind a lot of this marbling that you see here. So don't get crazy and cut every single piece of fat off of the pork shoulder. Pork shoulder is a fatty kind of cut of meat. But if there's just a single chunk of fat, you might want to just cut that off. But what I've done with this one is I've just topped it with some salt and pepper. Finally, I'm going to talk about the ingredients that we're going to be adding to the top of our pork tacos. We're going to make some tomatilla sauce. So to do that, I'm going to need 4 tomatillas. I'm also going to make a really simple guacamole. I'll walk you through how to do that. But use whatever guacamole recipe that's your tried and true trusted guacamole recipe, please. And we're also going to serve this with mango. Like I said, this is a very spicy, savory pork. And so it pairs really nicely with something sweet like mango or maybe even pineapple. Okay, so the first step in this recipe is we're going to broil a couple of our vegetables. We're going to get our baking sheet right here. I've got a little bit of Pam or whatever kind of oil you have. Then I'm going to add my half of a poblano pepper. I'm going to put this skin side up. Then I'm going to add my tomatillas, and I'm going to broil them as well. And what we're looking for with this is we're looking for this to kind of char over the top, and we're going to peel the skin off. It's going to really open up the flavors of the poblano pepper. You will not regret doing this part of the recipe. Alternatively, if you have a grill or something, you could grill the skin and peel it off. Just however you get to the char, that's what we're looking for in this particular vegetable. After I've thrown in those vegetables to broil for a little bit, you don't want to keep an eye on them. Like, don't neglect them or else it's going to be a hot, scorchy disaster. So just pay attention to that. Now we're going to brown the meat and get ready with our pork tacos. What I have on this pot is I have about 1.5 tablespoons of coconut oil. We want to get it really nice and hot because what we're looking for is we really want to get a nice brown on both sides of our pork. What you need is another plate hanging out right here so that when the pork is browned on either side, you're going to move that to the plate and set that aside. Remember that I coated both sides of each piece of the pork with salt and pepper. So with this pork, this is kind of one of those things where you got to be very brave and you got to hang out. Don't keep peeking under there. You want to make sure that everything is nice and brown on one side before you flip it over. You gotta let this sit here for at least 6 minutes on either side. Okay, now that our meat is going, we've got a couple of minutes to chop up our vegetables. A friend of ours who works in the restaurant industry pointed out that I need to work on my knife skills. I appreciate that. So I'm going to dice this onion. Be very careful to cut away from the flesh. And then I'm going to just dice this up as tiny as you can. Look at that. Perfect browning everywhere. Now we're going to leave it on this side for another 5 to 6 minutes. Keep flipping these over and adding new ones in there and flipping them over every 5 to 6 minutes, nice and brown. I'm also going to now take out the vegetable that we had in the broiler here. The poblano pepper is perfect. Whenever you start getting this nice little bag of skin starts ready to come off, that's literally perfect. Our tomatillas, though, could go a little bit longer. They're brown at the top, but we could definitely flip these over carefully. I'm going to use some tongs to flip them over because I want my tomatillas brown on all sides because I want a nice browning whenever I'm making this. But the poblano pepper is perfect for us to cut it. Okay, I've given my poblano a moment to cool. What we're going to do is we're going to take the skin and we're going to peel that off. Underneath here is going to be just the most incredible flavor of that poblano pepper. It smells so good. So I'm going to take off the seeds here. This is not good for us to eat, not too fun. We'll maybe scoop these guys off. And I'm going to dice this roasted poblano pepper. This is going to add an incredible smokiness to our pork tacos. I'm so excited about this. Perfect. My tomatillas are done. They look perfect for my taste. So I took those out of the oven. And what I'm going to do, the next thing I have to do is I have to set my oven to bake, not broil, but bake at 325 degrees. We've got our last pork shoulder. It's almost done here. Oh, that's perfect. Very perfect. I'm going to turn down my heat a little bit. And with the oil from the pork and the fat and the amazing flavors that just came out, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw in our onions into this. And oh my gosh, get ready for some amazing smells. I'm just going to put everything into this. I'm going to mix it around, give it a nice mix. You're going to want the onions brown here for about 5 minutes or so. You want to get them nice and translucent and to make sure they're absorbing as much of that pork flavor as they possibly can. I just want to warn you, whenever you're cooking this, it's going to make a ton of smoke while you're putting together that pork. Your neighbors are either going to call the fire department or they're going to knock on your door asking you what the heck smells so good. So we're going to open up a window and turn on our vents just to make sure this thing airs out a little bit. But I want to brown my onions for about 5 minutes. I've got my onions in here. I just went ahead and put my oregano in here. If you only have jarred oregano, you put about a tablespoon of oregano in there. I threw in my cilantro. You want to put about 2 tablespoons or more of cilantro. Put how much cilantro you normally like. And I also have my delicious poblano pepper that we just prepared in there. And everything's kind of starting to come together and smell really, really good. All right, just so I won't forget, because it doesn't matter if I put it in now or later, I'm throwing in 2 bay leaves in here. I'm also going to throw in a cinnamon stick in here. Then I'm going to throw in 3 of these chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. We love this stuff, but if you're sensitive to spicy flavor, you might only want to put 2. It's really up to you. But they come like this, and they're these just incredible, tasty, juicy little peppers. So we're going to put in 3. So I'm going to let these peppers break down in here for just a little bit. Now we're going to add some liquids to this. What we're going to need to do is to have enough liquid to cover up the meat that we have. So I'm going to throw in 2 cups of this chicken stock. Into this, I'm going to mix that in a little bit, really good. I'm also going to throw in the juice of these oranges. That seems really good. And you know what? I'm also just going to throw in the thing in there. I'm just going to leave that in there. It's going to give it a nice citrusy flavor that I'm going to love. We'll pull it out whenever we're ready to eat. Then I'm going to throw in my garlic. We're going to put in at least a tablespoon of garlic. You can put in more or less, however you like it. Mix that in. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to throw in our cheap beer. Give that a mix. I can turn off my oven right here because the rest of this is going to come together in the stove. So I'm going to throw in each of the pieces of pork shoulder. Guess what? There's a lot of awesome pork juice on this plate. I'm throwing it in there too. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite recipes, and anyone who's ever tried it is obsessed with it. It's a lot of amazing flavor. So we're going to cover this up. We're going to put it in our oven at 325 degrees, which is a little bit more of a simmer. We're looking like leaving it in here for about 2.5 hours. At about 2 hours, I'm going to open up the lid and make sure that the pork is fall apart the way that I want it. But 2 hours should do it for the amount of meat that we have in this particular one. But you just kind of want to check on it every hour, hour and a half or so. Once you can easily just flake off the pork or flake it apart, then it's perfect and ready to eat. I am going to now make my tomatillas salsa. I'm going to take these 4 tomatillas. I'm going to add a handful of cilantro, a teaspoon of sour cream into this. Add some salt to taste. Add black pepper. I am also going to add any of the juices that was at the bottom of that pan, because guess what else we have in this pan? That amazing poblano pepper. Then I'm going to cover this thing up. I'm going to watch this fancy thing go. And this is my take on tomatilla salsa. So I tried it and it tasted a little different, and I realized I forgot to add garlic to that. But ideally you would have, at the very least, tomatillas, cilantro, garlic, salt, pepper to taste. and our little extra addition, which is sour cream. Let's see. That's much better. Okay, so the pork tacos are almost done. So I'm gonna make our guacamole. So I'm gonna cut my avocado in half, take out the pit, remove the avocado there. Doing the same thing with the other side. I'm gonna take my tomatoes, I'm gonna chop these up nice and diced and small. Now I'm gonna chop up my cilantro. Again, with cilantro, we don't worry about the stems because they taste good. So I'm gonna take about a tablespoon of cilantro in there. That's me. You do you. If you don't like cilantro, I think some people are like biologically predisposed to not liking cilantro, but if you don't like it, if it tastes like soap or it tastes like garbage to you, don't put it in. I'm gonna throw in some lime juice. Why? Because I like lime juice. I'm going to put in a little bit of salt to taste. Now I'm going to throw in a little bit of pepper to taste, put a little bit of ground ginger in there, so maybe a half a teaspoon. Now I'm going to take this funny looking smasher thing and I'm going to smash up our avocados. All right, our pork tacos have been sitting in the oven for about 2 hours, so now it's time to take it out and see how we did. It smells so good right now. Oh, that's just perfect. See how you can, the pork is falling apart just like that? That's exactly what we're looking for. We pre-made our taco shells in coconut oil, but feel free to use whatever you want. You can have your taco shells kind of street style and not fry them at all. We've also had this recipe with lettuce wraps, and it's so perfect with those two. This pork will go well in literally any shell that you have. After all, it's just a delivery for the amazing braised pork that we put together. So whatever you have around the house will do just perfectly. Well, there you have it, folks. That's our braised pork tacos. I hope you like them. I know that we're going to love them. They smell so delicious. What was I going to say? Hold on. I didn't think what I want to say first. What am I going to say? Tacos.
Who doesn't like tacos?
Who doesn't freaking like tacos? If you have any questions about the recipe, shoot me a comment in the link below. I'm happy to kind of help you through anything if you have any trouble with any of the recipes that I'm putting together. I hope you're having a really happy Taco Tuesday or whatever day it is right now. And with that, enjoy your tacos. I'm going to give this a nice crunch test.